The fog settles in fast tonight. It rolls off the Pacific in one long sheet of white, thick enough that the end of the pier disappears behind it. I'm barely an hour into my first night shift at Seacrest Pier Park, and the air already tastes like salt and cold metal. The boardwalk creaks under every step I take. The whole place feels like it's breathing, slow, heavy breaths that rise from the ocean and sink into the wooden planks. I keep telling myself it's normal. Just weather, just Oregon. But the fog makes it hard to see where the sky ends and the waves begin, and that does something strange to my head. Makes me feel like I'm walking inside someone else's dream. I finish resetting the machines one by one, power cycling, clearing out old tokens, checking the reward counters. It's mindless work, but it keeps the silence from getting too loud. When I reach the last booth on the left, the old mariner's luck wheel sits dark in the corner, its cord coiled neatly on the floor. I pulled it out myself 30 minutes ago, I'm sure of it. Then, out of nowhere, the screen flickers. A soft blue glow fills the booth. The wheel lights up. Not fully, just enough for the colors to bleed through the fog. My first thought is that Ray wired it wrong again. My second thought is, I don't know, something colder. Something that crawls under the back of my tongue. I step closer and place my hand on the panel. It vibrates like it's warming up for a game. Then I hear it. Light footsteps. Fast, running across the wet planks behind me. I spin around. Nothing. Just fog sliding between the booths. The steps keep going, circling me. Too quick to belong to any adult. I can hear water slapping against the pylons beneath us, but nothing else. No breathing, no voices, no kid. Dude, a voice pops up behind me. I jump hard enough that my ribs hurt, but it's only Nate Calloway standing there with a wrench in his hand and that stupid half-smirk on his face. Wood expanding, he says. Basic humidity, welcome to the coast. I try to tell him the machine wasn't plugged in, but he's already walking away. Nate never sticks around long enough to hear anything that doesn't fit his version of reality. I finish up and start heading toward the back exit. The fog thickens into a solid wall, and out of that wall, an old fisherman steps forward, slow, deliberate, eyes lost under his hood. He brushes past me like he's walking through a crowd that isn't there. "Don't let it touch you," he whispers. His voice is dry, sharp, too close to my ear. I turn around. He's gone. The fog swallows everything. Behind me, the mariner's luck wheel turns a single inch. No wind, no sound, just movement where nothing should move. I didn't understand the night shift until my second evening on the pier. Seacrest Pier Park shuts its gates at 8 p.m. sharp, but the real work doesn't stop. Ray keeps staff on until 2 or 3 in the morning, depending on the weather. He says it's cheaper to do the dirty reset stuff at night instead of wasting daylight hours. So every evening I walk the same loop, cleaning salt off the railings, dumping old tickets, power cycling machines, sweeping broken shells and wet sand out from under the booths. Salt gets into everything. Even the machines feel tired, like they've lived here longer than all of us. Night watch is part of it too. There's always someone trying to break into the prize booth or sleep behind the funnel cake stand. Nate jokes that the pier is prime real estate for people with nowhere to go. He's right, though. Some nights I find beer cans tucked behind the game counters or footprints leading under the carousel storage shutters. We're supposed to report everything and stay visible. It's not exactly glamorous, but it keeps the pier from falling apart. Then there's storm watch. That one matters more than I first realized. The coast gets hit with sudden fog walls, ocean surges, and wind that feels strong enough to rip the planks off the deck. When the weather drops fast, the whole pier shifts. You can hear it grinding. You can feel it in your teeth. Someone has to be here in case a light breaks loose or the tide pushes debris into the lower pylons. And the biggest reason, the one Ray actually cares about, is insurance. The park's policy requires personnel on site overnight because the place is too old and too wooden to be left unattended. Ray says it's corporate paranoia, but I think he knows the truth. The pier would collapse in a month without eyes on it. Plus, Ray doesn't trust cameras at all. He keeps them up because the insurance company demands it, but he never checks the feeds. Claims fog messes with them, claims salt ruins the wiring, claims they lie. So he makes us do everything manually, walk every booth, tug every latch, test every breaker. Sometimes I wonder if he's actually paranoid or just old-fashioned. I live in a tiny attic room behind the pier. The ceiling sloped down so low I bump my head if I forget to duck. The whole place smells like wet rope and old plywood, but it's free, and free goes a long way on my paycheck. I hear the ocean all night through the thin walls. Sometimes it's peaceful, sometimes it's not. Lena Brooks works the shifts before mine. She's friendly, soft-spoken, funny in a shy way. We usually overlap an hour, just long enough for her to hand over the log sheets and ask how my night looks. She's always asking if she looks puffy in her jacket. Not in a vain way. More like she honestly can't tell. She carries this quiet anxiety about her body, the kind you don't notice until she says something like, "Do I look bigger than yesterday?" Then she laughs it off, but her eyes don't match the laugh. Nate Calloway is the opposite, loud, practical, zero patience for anything that isn't bolts, tools, or physical reality. He walks around with a flashlight between his teeth and always smells like engine cleaner. Nate thinks every weird noise is humidity, every glitch is cheap wiring, every bad feeling is low blood sugar. If something supernatural punched him in the face, he'd probably call it a temperature fluctuation. Ray Hollinger, the owner, is barely a person, more like a rumor with a signature. He doesn't talk to us. He only leaves sticky notes taped to control panels or bathroom mirrors. Sometimes the handwriting shakes. Sometimes it doesn't look like the same person wrote them, but nobody questions it because Ray pays on time. Deputy Mark Hensley covers the district out here. Middle-aged, tired, hates paperwork. If we call about something suspicious, he sighs before saying hello. He knows the pier has problems, but it's the kind he can blame on teenagers or vagrants. Anything beyond that, he ignores. On my third night, I notice something strange in the staff break room mirror. Lena stands beside me, tying her hair, and the reflection shows her a little fuller. Not big, just slightly rounded. The kind of difference you'd chalk up to bad lighting. She doesn't notice. She just pushes a strand of hair behind her ear and keeps talking about her dinner plans. I stare a second longer, long enough for the reflection to feel wrong, long enough for my stomach to tighten. Then I blink and it's normal again. Later, the photo booth spits out a test picture of me, a stretched, narrow version of my face. The machine does that sometimes, Nate says. Old sensors, salt messes everything up. But the machine had been off until I ran the test, and the stretch looks too deliberate, like someone pulled my face downward with a finger. When I take my next patrol walk, I pass under one of the pier cameras. The little red light clicks on overhead. I catch my reflection in the dark lens, just a smear of my outline. But as I move, the reflection lags half a second behind me. Just enough to notice, just enough to doubt my own eyesight. I tell myself I'm tired. Fog messes with depth perception. Lights do weird things with moisture in the air. Near the end of the shift, Lena tells me something that sticks in my head more than it should. Night staff never last, she says. Every fall, people quit out of nowhere. Ray keeps calling them lazy, but She shrugs. I don't know, something feels off. I check the old scheduling sheets after she leaves. Dozens of names, all crossed out, all mid-season, no explanations, just gone. Nate finds me looking and laughs. This place is damp as hell, he says. People can't handle it, that's all. Maybe he's right. Maybe it's nothing. But as I walk the pier again, the fog curls against the booths in slow, heavy breaths. The wood creaks like something waking up beneath me. And for a moment, just a moment, the whole place feels almost normal. Almost. By the end of the week, Ray starts leaving notes that don't look like his usual scribbles. He always prints his messages in blocky capitals, the kind of neat handwriting older men learn in the military. But these new ones are rushed, tilted, sharp in places where they shouldn't be. The first one I see is taped to the breaker panel beside the carousel. Check Tide Glass Hall. Mirror report. Do not ignore. I stare at the words for a while. A mirror report. I didn't even know Tide Glass Hall still had power. Lena comes up behind me, jacket zipped to her chin. The night is colder than usual. Fog keeps blowing in sheets over the pier and then dissolving, then rolling back again like it's trying to decide something. What's that? She asks. Another one of Ray's assignments, I say. She squints at the note. Mirror report. What does that even mean? Your guess is better than mine. We head toward Tide Glass Hall together, partly because it's on my route, partly because neither of us wants to walk through the fog alone. The hall sits at the far end of the pier, its paint peeling off in thin curls. Some boards have warped so much they look like they're breathing. The door groans when I push it open. Inside it smells like rust and wet towels. A single emergency light glows above the entrance, casting a low amber hue that makes everything look old and underwater. The corroded mirror sits in the corner. The first time I saw it, I thought the stains were just age. Now I'm not so sure. I walk closer, Lena at my side. Our reflections appear, but they don't feel right. The mirror tints everything slightly green. The surface ripples like thin water when a breeze hits it, even though the air in here is dead still. I hate this thing, Lena whispers. I don't blame her. The reflection shows her uneven. Her face is rounder, softer, like someone added invisible weight only the glass can see. She steps back, rubbing her arms. Then Nate walks in, whistling like this is just another maintenance sweep. He stops in front of the mirror and stares. Longer than he should. Nate? I say. He doesn't respond. He just keeps looking. The reflection of him stands a little straighter than he is. Its head tilts before Nate's real head tilts. Just a fraction of a second. Just enough to make my stomach twist. When he finally speaks, his voice sounds half asleep. Cheap mirrors, he mutters. Salt eats everything here. He breaks eye contact with the glass and claps his hands once like he's brushing off dust. Then he smirks at me. You look like you saw a ghost, he adds. I didn't, I start. Relax, man. Humidity messes with your brain. He taps the mirror. See? Loose metal, it warps. Science. The mirror doesn't warp. It shivers. We leave Tide Glass Hall after logging the check. The fog feels thicker outside, like walking through wet cotton. I head back toward the central booths to reset a token dispenser, and that's when I see the second glitch. The shadow beside my feet moves before I do. Not much, just a quarter inch, just enough. I freeze, breath caught, legs locked. Lena almost bumps into me. You okay? Yeah, I think so. I look down again. My shadow matches me now, perfectly, too perfectly. We keep walking. At 1 a.m., the old PA system crackles to life. The speaker above the prize booth screeches, then drops into static, then children laughing. Light, quiet, like a birthday party muffled by walls. Lena grabs my sleeve. Tell me you heard that. I heard it. It's off, right? I thought the PA was off. It is. Nate pops out from behind a booth, holding a screwdriver in his teeth. Loose wiring, he mumbles around the handle. It was laughter, I say. He shrugs. Feedback. You hear what you expect to hear. Psychology. He spits the screwdriver into his hand. Stop freaking out. But I'm not freaking out. I'm noticing. There's a difference. We keep working through the quiet until Lena heads out. She waves goodnight and disappears into the fog down the staff ramp. I continue my loop alone. When I reach the souvenir booth, I glance through the glass at the plush toys piled inside. Something in the reflection catches my eye. Lena, still standing next to me. But she's not smiling the way Lena smiles. Her mouth is stretched too far, like cartoon elasticity. Her eyes are too bright, her posture too stiff. My heart drops through the planks. I turn. No one's there. When I look back at the reflection, it snaps into place. Normal. Just me. Just the toys. I stumble backward until my shoulders hit the booth frame. And that's when the fisherman appears again. He walks out of the fog with that same slow, dragging step. His boots clack against the wood like he's been walking a long time. His hood is low over his face. His beard looks wet. It copies what you hate about yourself, he says. His voice scratches like old rope. He doesn't stop walking. He doesn't look up. He just moves past me and fades back into the fog. I want to chase him, ask him what he means, ask him what exactly it is, but he's gone before I can move. Instead, I go to Ray's office hoping for answers. The door's unlocked. The light is off. Papers lie scattered across the desk. Maintenance logs, purchase orders, old sticky notes. I sift through them until I find a spiral notebook pushed against the wall. Ray's handwriting fills the first few pages. Then other handwriting takes over, messy, slanted. I'm not sure it's his. 2004, Jason left mid-shift. No call, no reason. 2011, Taylor vanished after break. Locker untouched. Turnover too high. Don't tell insurance. Fog too thick this year. Won't be good. My throat tightens. What does that even mean? I close the notebook and step outside. The fog swarms the walkway in heavy waves. Lights flicker like they can't keep up. Somewhere behind me, wood thumps. Footsteps. I expect to see Lena coming back, but it's Nate stepping out from behind a game booth, rubbing his eyes like he just woke from a nap. Heading out? I ask. Yeah, he says. Done for the night. He walks past me toward the exit ramp. Slow, deliberate. I turn toward the souvenir booth window as he passes. Just a habit, checking reflections, I guess. Nate's reflection doesn't follow him. It stays, standing still, watching me. 2 full seconds, maybe more. Then it blinks out, leaving only my reflection behind. My breath sticks in my throat. My hands go cold. Something is forming a pattern, and the pattern is getting closer. The storm doesn't arrive all at once. It builds in layers, wind, then mist, then the sound of distant waves slamming something hollow beneath the pier. By midnight, the fog is so heavy I can't see more than a few feet. The lamps flicker so hard, it feels like walking through a broken slideshow. I'm halfway through my loop when I find another one of Ray's notes taped crookedly to the carousel gate. Check Seafarer's Maze Pavilion. Take Brooks. Urgent. The handwriting leans sharp, like each letter was carved instead of written. I radio Lena. A minute later, she pushes through the fog toward me, coat whipping in the wind, her breath coming out white and thin. She tightens her hood with both hands. What now? She calls out, voice strained by the weather. Ray wants us to check the maze, I say, raising the note. She stares at it like it personally offended her. At this hour, in this storm. Apparently, she gives a nervous laugh under her breath. That place makes me seasick just thinking about it. And it's half rotten, I add, and probably unsafe. Yeah, I say. Let's just get it over with. We start down the pier together. The wind pulls at our clothes like it wants to drag us backward. The fog wraps around our legs, thick and damp like wet cloth. The wood shivers under us as the tide rises. For a moment, I swear the pier tilts. Just a hair, just enough to make my stomach shift. But the moment passes like nothing happened. The Seafarers' Maze Pavilion sits at the very edge of the pier, hunched low against the storm. The paint flakes off in long curls. The old weather vane spins too fast, squealing like it's in pain. I push open the door, and the hinges scream back at me. Inside, the air tastes like metal. Heatless neon strips blink in jagged rhythms overhead. Shadows jump across the walls like they're trying to escape. Lena steps in cautiously, rubbing her arms. This place feels wrong tonight. It always feels wrong, I say. But yeah, this is worse. We move through the first hallway. The mirrors don't just distort, they observe. One shows me stretched vertically. Another makes Lena look child-thin. Another doesn't show us at all, just the empty hall behind us. The rotating panel at the end of the corridor groans as we pass. It should be locked in place, permanently disabled. But as soon as we step by, it swings shut with a rusty, deliberate click. Lena flinches hard, back hitting the wall. "That wasn't supposed to move," she says, voice trembling. I know. She grips her sleeves tight. "Evan, maybe we should leave." "We just need to log the check," I say, trying to sound steady. "Then we're done." She swallows and nods once. "Fine, but please be quick." The next corridor's worse. Lights flicker in a rhythm too perfect. On, off, like something is timing them. Every blackout comes with a soft scuff of footsteps behind us. When the lights return, no one. Just more warped glass, more wrong versions of us. We reach the central chamber, and that's when we see Nate. He stands perfectly still in the middle of the room, hands at his sides. He looks like someone paused him mid-motion. There's no wrench, no flashlight, nothing that marks him as the Nate we know. "Nate," I call out. He turns toward us, slowly, smoothly, too smoothly, like his joints don't have resistance anymore. Lena edges closer to me. "Nate, you okay?" He looks at us with calm, empty eyes. "What if the mirror's the real one?" he says. The voice is wrong, flat, like someone else is pushing the sound through him. My pulse starts hammering. "Nate, come with us. We need to get out of here." He doesn't move, not even a blink. He just walks past us, quiet and steady, steps soft as if the ground is guiding him. Lena whispers, terrified, "Evan, he's not right." I know. Stay close. We follow him out of the pavilion and into the storm. Rain needles down from every direction. Fog curls thick around the support beams. The ocean roars beneath us. Nate heads toward the old ocean watchtower, the one built on the rocks past the main pier. The catwalk leading to it is slick with seawater. My shoes slide with every rush step. "Wait!" I shout. "Nate, stop!" He doesn't. He climbs the ladder to the watchtower's platform with impossible balance, wind ripping at his clothes. I nearly slip climbing after him. Lena stays close behind, both of us gasping from the cold and fear. At the top, the wind nearly knocks me sideways. Nate stands on the railing, feet close together, arms loose, back straight. He doesn't react to the storm, or to us. Lena's voice cracks. "Nate, please, get down." He turns his head toward us. It rotates too far too far. His neck bends at an angle that makes my stomach lurch. His eyes are black, not dilated, just swallowed whole. Nothing behind them. "Nate," I whisper, "don't do this." He lifts one foot into empty air. He doesn't fall. He steps down, slow, careful, like he's walking down a staircase no one else can see. Then another step. Another. My breath tears out of my chest. Nate! He keeps walking until the invisible stairs run out, and then he drops, straight down, rigid as a plank. The sound of him hitting the rocks is heavy, final, wrong. Lena grabs my jacket, crying into the storm. Evan, we have to go, we have to go. Then I hear it. Footsteps on the ladder, multiple sets, light, fast, climbing. I whip around, but the ladder's empty. The footsteps keep coming anyway, scraping metal, then wood, then metal again. Run! I shout. We stumble down the tower, half sliding, half falling. The fog below moves like a living thing, rolling, folding, shaping itself around us. Something brushes my arm, cold as sea glass. I yank Lena toward the tower's storage door. It's unlocked. I slam us inside. The old control room smells like mold and rust. Tools lie scattered across a warped desk. I sweep them aside and freeze as a photo slips free from beneath them. A young pier worker stands in front of the same tower 20 years ago. Head tilted, smile crooked. The exact same expression Nate had minutes before he stepped into nothing. My vision blurs. My knees shake. We need to leave, I whisper. Now. Outside, the footsteps multiply, skittering across the catwalk, circling us, tapping the metal frame. Not heavy, not adult, child fast, wrong. We burst out of the room and sprint through the fog. The storm claws at us. Something runs parallel to us, just beyond the edge of vision, too quick to be human. Don't stop, I yell. Lena slips. I catch her arm and drag her forward. The fog laughs, soft, high, echoing, like the PA system from earlier. We sprint until the maintenance shed appears through the white blur. I crash into the door, shove it open, and pull us inside. Lena kicks it shut. I slam the bolt down. Outside, the footsteps circle once, twice, then fade into the storm. My chest aches from breathing too hard. My hands shake so violently I have to hold them between my knees. The fog presses against the shed windows like it's listening. Whatever took Nate, whatever copied that crooked smile, it's moving closer. And it knows we're here. The maintenance hut feels smaller than it should. The air is warm and stale, thick with the smell of oil and wet rope. Rain drums hard against the metal roof, loud enough that I can't tell if the noise outside is weather or footsteps. Lena sits on an overturned crate, shaking so badly she keeps dropping her flashlight. I'm crouched against the wall opposite her, trying to breathe slow, steady, quiet. It doesn't work. My whole body hums like it's filled with static. I can still see Nate falling, straight down. That crooked smile carved onto his face right before he stepped into nothing. I keep replaying it, wondering if there was something in him fighting back, some tiny part not fully replaced. And if so, how long had he been losing that fight? Lena wraps her arms tight around herself. Her voice cracks. Evan, what was that? What did we see up there? I swallow hard. My throat feels raw, like I've been breathing smoke. I don't know, I say, but I think I'm starting to understand how it works. She looks at me like she doesn't want to hear the answer, but she nods anyway. I steady my breathing, even though everything in me wants to run until my legs give out. It doesn't kill people, I say quietly. At least, not directly. Lena frowns. What do you mean? I rub both hands over my face, trying to push my thoughts together. Think about the mirrors, the reflections, the shadows that move wrong, the photo booth distortions. All of them highlight something people don't like about themselves. She looks down at her hands. Like my weight stuff? Yeah, I whisper. Exactly that. I wait for her to get angry or offended or hurt, but she just lowers her head like she already knew. I continue, voice low. It doesn't create copies out of nothing. It focuses on insecurities, weak points, things people fear about themselves. Why? I think it feeds on the emotion itself, the self-hate, the doubt, the stuff people try to hide. Rain hits the walls harder, like something slamming both palms against the metal. Lena jumps, gasping. It copies those parts, I say, twists them, strengthens them, and then the real person starts losing control. Her breathing stutters. Like Nate. Like Nate, I echo. I close my eyes for a moment, seeing him staring into the corroded mirror earlier tonight. Staring too long, letting something catch hold. I didn't realize it then. I didn't want to. Once the copy gets strong enough, I say, the person starts acting differently. First a little, then a lot. And when the copy becomes the dominant version, they die, Lena whispers. They follow whatever the copy wants, I correct gently, like some kind of pattern it forces onto them. And Nate's pattern was falling? I nod slowly. He walked down imaginary stairs. That wasn't suicide. That was reenactment. Reenactment of what, she asks. I don't know, I say, not yet. The hut creaks behind me, the wind blasting against it so hard the entire frame shivers. Dust falls from a beam above my head. The generator outside coughs, then hums louder, then sputters again. A long silence settles in before Lena speaks again, voice tiny. Evan, look at me. I lift my flashlight. She turns her face slightly, pointing at her left cheek. At first, I don't understand what I'm looking at. Then her reflection in the hut's narrow window shifts, just a little, just enough. Her cheek looks swollen in the glass, rounder, softer, like the mirror wants her to notice, like it's reminding her of something she hates. My chest tightens so hard it hurts. Lena, she shakes her head quickly. I didn't even feel it until now. It's starting, I whisper. It's marking you. Her breathing breaks again. Evan, I don't want to end up like Nate. I won't let that happen, I say. I swear. My words feel heavy. Promises shouldn't be made on a night like this, but she needs it, and maybe I need it too. I look down at the floor, tracing cracks in the wood with my eyes, trying to find some thread of logic in all this. The fog, the turnover, the mirrors, the fisherman, the old logs from Ray's office. The weird spike in nightstaff disappearing only during certain months. Then it hits me. Hard. Off-season, I whisper. What? Lena asks. This thing, whatever it is, it only feeds when the pier's empty, when there are fewer witnesses, when no one would notice strange behavior. She nods slowly, eyes wide. Most tourists stop coming after September. And that's exactly when staff start quitting, I say, or disappearing. The walls pop suddenly as the wind slams the backside of the hut. We both jump. I crawl to the window and push aside the curtain just enough to peek outside. The fog is thick as solid paint, breathing, moving, waiting. Evan, Lena whispers, voice trembling, do you see anything? No, I say, but I can feel it. My flashlight beam shakes over the tools hanging on the wall. My hands won't stay steady no matter how hard I try. I force them still long enough to grab a crowbar. That's when the hut door creaks. Just a hair, just enough for a sliver of fog to slip in along the floor. Lena scrambles backward, holding her breath. I grip the crowbar so tight my knuckles ache. Stay behind me. Something moves in the fog outside. A shadow, a shape, a suggestion of a person but not fully formed. Then a rasping voice drifts through the opening. Run through the gap! I freeze. The voice is familiar. Don't look back. The old fisherman stands at the doorway, half his body swallowed by the white curtain of fog. His face is hidden beneath a dripping hood. His beard is wet. His coat hangs heavy like seaweed. He doesn't step closer. He just stands there, breathing thin, uneven breaths that sound older than the waves. Lena clutches my sleeve. "Evan, is that him?" "Yeah," I whisper. The fisherman tilts his head, listening to something behind him. His voice rasps again. "You won't make it far, but it's the only way left." "The gap?" I ask. "Where?" He lifts one arm and points through the fog toward the narrow space between the lockdown Mystic swing ride and the shuttered Saltwind Theater. A sliver of pathway only maintenance staff use, barely wide enough for one person to slip through sideways. "For God's sake," Lena whispers, "we'll be trapped." "Better trapped than copied," the fisherman murmurs. Then he steps backward and disappears into the fog like he was never there. The hut feels even smaller now, even warmer, even more suffocating. I stand slowly, crowbar in hand. "We're leaving," I say. Lena wipes her eyes with her sleeve. "You think we can outrun it?" "No," I answer, "but maybe we can get ahead of it." I push open the door, and the fog rolls in, brushing my legs like cold fabric. We slip outside, staying close to the wall of the hut, moving slowly, trying not to make noise. The wind screams around the beams above us, boards creak under unseen weight, footsteps, light, fast, wrong, patrol somewhere out on the pier. "We go through the gap," I whisper. "We don't stop." Lena nods. We inch along the side of the hut, staying low, following the fisherman's direction. The fog swirls harder near the center of the pier, like something pacing there. My flashlight catches a reflection in a broken shard of plexiglass near the ground. I wish it hadn't. At the far end of the pier, beyond the souvenir booth, beyond the dripping fog lamps, a distorted version of me stands perfectly still, too tall, too thin. Head tilted just slightly off-center, its arms hang limp, its mouth curves into a tired half-smile, a smile I've seen in mirrors on nights I hated myself the most. It doesn't move, it just waits. My lungs seize, my blood turns cold. Lena grabs my wrist. "Evan, what do we do?" I stare at the version of myself watching us through the fog. For the first time tonight, I understand exactly what we're running from, and I understand what will happen if it reaches me first. "We move," I whisper. "Now." The gap is tighter than it looked. We turn sideways and push through, scraping our shoulders on the metal as the fog coils hard behind us. Halfway through, the world tilts. My vision warps, colors smear. It feels like we're walking between two mirrors pressed too close together. My stomach drops, and for a second I'm sure we're not going to come out at all. Then the pressure snaps, and we stumble onto asphalt. The parking lot is empty, slick with rain, lit only by a single flickering street lamp. The fog stops at the edge of the pier like it's hitting an invisible wall. It breathes against it, slow and heavy, but it doesn't cross. Lena collapses onto the curb, burying her face in her hands. I stand beside her, trying to steady my legs. Everything feels unreal, detached, far away. The police arrive 15 minutes later. Deputy Hensley barely looks at us while taking statements. He keeps glancing at the pier, at the fog, at the silent attractions behind it. Later that night, he texts me photos from their inspection. The watchtower was sealed shut. No fresh footprints, no signs anyone climbed it, no lights were on, no power at all. I stare at the photos until the screen burns my eyes. The tower looks dead, abandoned. There's no broken railing, no drag marks, no evidence of Nate's fall. Just an untouched platform and rusted bolts that haven't moved in months. Lena asks quietly, "So what did we see?" I don't answer. 3 days pass. Storm warnings come and go. The pier stays closed for repairs. I barely sleep. Then the call comes in. Nate's body washed ashore at Gray Point, miles from the pier. The officer on the phone sounds disturbed when he describes it. Eyes wide open, jaw slightly crooked, heels shattered from the fall. Exactly what I heard, exactly what I saw. Ray denies everything. He shrugs off every question, tells the police that Nate quit, says he never saw him in the tower, says we're mistaken, says the storm confused us, says whatever keeps him out of trouble. 2 new night employees start the next evening. College kids, energetic, laughing. They don't believe a word I tell them. They smirk the exact way Nate used to. Overconfident, unshakable. They say things like, "Dude, it's just fog," and "Mirrors always warp like that." I don't argue. I don't have it in me. I just walk the edge of the parking lot while the sun goes down, trying to convince myself none of it can happen again. That the thing only wanted us. That we escaped. Then I hear it. A single coin dropping on wood. Bright, clean, impossible. I turn toward the pier. Through the fog, dim, distant, Mariner's luck wheel spins exactly 1 full turn. My chest tightens, my breath catches, the world narrows. I look toward the souvenir shop window beside me, just to ground myself, just to see something familiar. My reflection stands perfectly still, smiling that faint, crooked smile. And I can tell somehow that it has all the time in the world.